Now, the question we need to ask, of course, you just saw a prison cell at the lodging where I stayed last night, and you've seen the prison gate. Is this the future for Democratic Senator Bob Menendez from New Jersey? Now, famously, he somehow wiggled out of corruption, bribery charges a decade ago and survived that. But now, Bob Menendez is facing a new indictment. He's been charged by the Department of Justice with, I don't know what, influence peddling, something like that. They raided his home, and in his home, he had gold bullion bars, not one or two, but a whole bunch. We don't know the actual number, that hasn't been reported. Gold bullion bars, and Menendez also had $480,000 in cash. Now, ladies and gentlemen, let me ask you, who keeps $480,000 in cash in their home other than a gangster, a crooked politician, an ANC cater, a BEE tenderpreneur? Who keeps that kind of money sitting around in their home? Seriously. I mean, let's get real. Bob wasn't keeping this money in his house to pay his electricity bill, although I know electricity prices are soaring. He wasn't using it to overcome Biden inflation. He's part of the architect of Biden inflation, partly responsible for the destruction of American wealth and impoverishing tens of millions of Americans. So what are Bob and his wife up to? $480,000. That's more money than many Americans will see their entire lifetime, stashed away in his house in all sorts of locations. Now, the conspiracy theorists on the political left are already screaming, oh, it's a setup. They just put it in his house. Now, let's be clear about something. Under a system of jurisprudence, as I've said the case with Donald Trump and many others, Bob Menendez is innocent until proven guilty. But there's a disturbing pattern or trend to Bob Menendez and what's been going on with him. So we'll see what happens. He'll face trial for these indictments, and we'll see if he's convicted. Democrats are throwing Democrats under the bus, and it's interesting they're doing this in New Jersey. Maybe they want to get rid of the dead wood before they have to face his reelection. And that's probably what's going on here with Menendez. They'll do the same with Joe Biden. They'll sweep him under the rug as soon as they can. It's shocking they've stuck with him as long as they have. But Bob Menendez indicted by a federal grand jury. Unbelievable. The Justice Department gets indictment against him, and they're actually going to go after Menendez. Wow. When they go after leftists, it's shocking. What are they covering up? So the conspiracy theorists on the right will be saying, well, if they're going after Menendez, what are they covering up? What are we missing? What are we missing? Let me point out the most obvious thing we're missing. Billions and billions and billions more for the grift for Ukraine to cover up Joe Biden's crimes. Yeah, and whatever else the Democrats are up to. Yeah, or their rhino friends in the Republican Congress. It's interesting that this thing crops up now. We'll see what happens. But yeah, no, we are missing all kinds of activities that our politicians are up to that are not in our interest, not even remotely in our interest. They don't care about Americans. They don't care about people around the world. They just care about themselves. And if you haven't caught on to that, you need to start paying attention. It's time to start throwing these bums out of office. Honestly, let's get rid of them. I've had enough of this nonsense. Spent 36 years of my life supporting and defending the Constitution for all Americans. Black, white, brown, doesn't matter. Gay, straight, doesn't matter. Ethnicity, language, doesn't matter. If you're an American, it's an ideal. It's an ideal. It's being undermined and undercut by rapacious leftists who are destroying our nation with their disregard for the rule of law, their disdain for patriotism, and their hatred of anything that's pro-American. So let's watch and see the reaction from the left and from Democrats and how many friends in Congress he actually has, Bob Menendez, as these charges move forward. Or will Bob be finding a lovely spot like this? Again, folks, innocent until proven guilty in a competent court of law. We shall see. Bob Menendez. Interesting times indeed. Thanks a lot, folks.